I'm joined by Nicole Ramson, who runs a fantastic boutique branding and marketing agency called Chelsea Creative. Nicole, thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. It's very exciting.
So, Nicole, I'm going to be quizzing you all about Instagram. Why did you choose to use Instagram for your business?
Well, Instagram has 500 million monthly users.
Crikey, that's a lot.
So it's a huge amount of people that are obviously have their phone on them at all times, really easily accessible, and it's completely visual. So obviously for my company, being a marketing and branding and design company, it's probably the best platform to use for people to see exactly what I do. It's basically an online portfolio. I can show my story throughout it, and yeah, it's just a very easy way to get new clients that could be interested in what I do. So yeah, I think it's great.
And you're absolutely right that there's so many people who have it on their phone, aren't they? So they're just kind of, we were talking about it earlier, on their commute, you know, they're sat there just flicking through, looking at the images, and they're just kind of finding you quite organically.
Absolutely. Yeah, it has been like probably one of the best places that I've obviously gained clients from.
I was going to say, so how, because so many people will look at Instagram and go, oh my gosh, it's beautiful photos, really pretty, you can spend hours watching it and looking at all the different images. But how can you actually get clients from it to help grow your business? How's that happened for you?
So it's happened for me, obviously word of mouth. If someone has used my services before, it's instead of saying, oh, you need to go to chelseacreative.co.uk and go and have a look at her portfolio. Everyone's on Instagram at the moment, so they just tag their friends and their family members into either their logo that I've done for them on my Instagram page, or obviously through hashtags. Hashtags are a great way. I have a few clients who are permanent makeup artists, and they will find me through just me hashtagging PMU, which is permanent makeup.
Talk to us about hashtagging, because I am a bit rubbish on Instagram. As you know, I'm learning all about it at the moment. But how do hashtags work and how can people use them?
So it's basically finding like-minded people. So if you do it right, which is obviously not just hashtagging love and photo, if you really kind of get a niche group of hashtags together that relate specifically to what you're talking about within your post, you'll find people that are looking for exactly those sort of photos. So they'll actually find your image by what do you call it?
By searching. So if they're going, so they go to that part where they search for the hashtag and they put in, like, so if it was you, they'd be looking for web design or branding.
Exactly.
And then they see your image and then they think, oh, I really like that. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for.
Yeah, and I think it does help. There's another section called recent posts or posts you may like. And that's exactly where they would go and find those hashtags. So that's where it works. So I've always said to my clients, they need to have, like, obviously utilize that. Yeah. So I think you can have 30 hashtags.
Okay, so quite a lot.
Yeah, quite a lot. And, you know, I think some people find it a little bit much to have 30 hashtags. But if you want to utilize the hashtag side of things, which I would really suggest doing, I would write your caption. So whatever it is, obviously tell your story, what the post is about, and then give yourself a minute to go in and comment as the next, next post with all your hashtags in there. And then once people start commenting, that actually gets hidden underneath there. So yeah, it's a kind of sneaky way of being able to attract more followers and get more engagement just by using hashtags.
Brilliant, which is what we need, right? Because everyone who's doing Instagram, we've got to remember that it's Instagram for business, isn't it? So it might feel like, oh gosh, I've got to do, 30 hashtags, but actually this is why you're doing it. You're doing it to attract new clients into your business. So it's well worth taking that kind of 30 seconds just to write them up.
And I think people do obviously get worried that they're going to look a bit showy. And obviously if it is for your business, you should just absolutely go for it. Personal, if it's a picture of you in a bikini on holiday on your personal account and you're hashtagging hot bod, fair play. Like, people may think not highly of you. Yeah. So I think if you're using it for a business though and you're doing it in the right way, it's like a fantastic thing to utilize.
One of the things I've always struggled with Instagram is I don't have a business for my matchmaking business. I don't have a business where it naturally kind of lends itself to having lots of beautiful, stunning photos. Of course, if you work in kind of fashion or in photography, then you have all these kind of beautiful images at your disposal. What do you do if you're a business who, is a printing company or something that doesn't lend itself to having beautiful snaps?
There are a huge amount of things that you should do. I think it is very important that you do get on Instagram or online and social media and obviously get your usernames and hold on to them. So obviously for A League of Her, I was very much like, make sure you have that as your username. What you can do is do behind the scenes photos of people within the office. You can do like client tip of the day, a staff tip of the day on Instagram, and do a photo with them. Just make it really visual and tell a story of your business behind the scenes. You can do that, like, okay, Barclays UK, that's a bank. And as soon as you hear the word bank, you don't necessarily think Instagram, beautiful photos, I'm going to go find them and follow them. But they actually do something really cool where they actually get clients of theirs and business owners to take over their Instagram. And they do 3 posts and they talk about what they do and how Barclays helped them to, loan money and get to where they are. And it's a really, it's just a really nice visual way of being able to showcase what they do. So I think any business can use Instagram as long as they're doing it in a smart way.
If a bank can do it, then we can all do it.
Exactly.
And I think you're right. I think for me, I've found that just having my phone kind of in my bag and when I'm out and about, just taking a picture, it doesn't have to be something that's necessarily of your business directly, does it? It can be, if you're out and about and you see something beautiful and you take a photo, there's always ways that you can kind of get a bit creative to link it back to your business. So,
absolutely. And I think consistency is such a huge thing. You'll see on Chelsea Creative's Instagram, I try and use the same colors. There's a big consistency in how I post. So I always make sure, there's one kind of peachy color, and then I do lots of, white, and make sure that I am showing my client work as well as a few images of myself so people can see who they're, working with. So I think it's just about finding what suits you and working out how to tell your story in a way that isn't like a huge sell. And I think that's another thing that a lot of businesses do that's not quite correct on Instagram, which is to just try and do a really hard sell. And it's tacky and it's not something that Instagram users want to see.
Yeah, you just switch off, right? You unfollow, you're not interested. Nobody wants to be sold to all the time. It's about, as you say, finding that consistency of you can have those salesy posts once every kind of, I don't know, however many you want to, but not every one, because then people are just going to get bored. And
I think they'll get bored and they will unfollow because they don't want to be chased the whole time. They don't want to follow someone that is going to constantly be telling them that they have a 50% discount and come on down. And it's just not pretty.
And you said about followers there. So how on earth, when you start, do you get engagement? Do you get, followers? How do you get people talking and communicating? Because it can feel a bit like you're talking to nobody when you first start out.
So when I first started, I think, like, obviously if you've just started out your own business, friends and family are going to be the people that care the most first. So I would go and, follow your friends and family just to say, like, hi, I'm here, this is what I'm doing. And from there, I would go up to obviously find some of your competitors or people in the area. If you're targeting, say, like Wimbledon area, and you're a nail salon, I'd be finding people that maybe shop in Wimbledon, some bloggers that are, Wimbledon based. Obviously you need to do your research, and it's never easy, and you're never just going to click your fingers and have a bunch of followers. You actually have to put hard work in. But engaging with those people, commenting on their posts, telling them that you exist, I think it's just like, you have to almost like knock them on the shoulder and be like, I'm here. And whether that means following, engaging, I think that's the best way to go about it. And obviously keeping people on board and on your Instagram as followers is all about the content that you put up and show that it's a story.
Absolutely. And you said something really good earlier as well. You said about you always make sure there's some photos of you up there. And I think that thing with Instagram, it's such a kind of personal account as well. For me, out of all the social media platforms, I find that that's the one where people kind of do want to see you and they want to see who's behind the business and who's behind the brand. So I think that's really great if you feel comfortable enough to kind of showcase yourself on there a bit as well.
Yeah, and it can be daunting actually, because especially if you are like quite an introvert, it's really hard to be, in this world where there are just so many people who are very, very easily happy to show their soul and write all about their personal life and this, that, and the other. And business owners who aren't like that are going to really struggle to kind of follow suit. But I think if you do it in a tasteful way and you don't put too much out there, I also think it's kind of tacky to show your soul and talk about your boyfriends on Instagram is like my pet hate.
Yeah, you've got to keep it professional, right?
Keep it professional. People don't need to know everything.
Exactly. You can have your personal one and then your business one.
Exactly. And that's another point I would make. Definitely differentiate. the two. I have a few clients who aren't doing that, and it is something that is very, very much high on my list. Obviously, when I do have clients that come to me and say, right, what can I be doing? I always tell them to try and separate them.
Yeah, absolutely, because you do want to be seen as professional. And if you do have a personal account, it's also worth considering, isn't it? Keeping it private. If you do want to have photos of your kids and your family and you on your bikini on the beach,
exactly,
which is amazing.
That's all well and good.
Maybe have it in a personal kind of private account so clients can't see it. Because clients do a bit of stalking on Instagram, don't they?
They do. And they want to see someone slightly classy and that they're going to trust whatever you're doing with.
Yeah, you want a boozy night, might not be the image.
No.
Unless you're selling alcohol.
Exactly.
Then it could work.
True. Very true.
Do you have any kind of tips for people starting out? You know, they're launching their business. They've got a whole host of things that they need to do, but Instagram is on their list. Where do they start? Any kind of words of wisdom for them?
I would say my first tip is obviously to just try and keep some sort of consistency. There's a great app called UNUM, and it actually helps you order your Instagram posts and how they're going to look. So I would say that's a really good thing to download first and foremost. After that, just work out, obviously, I think you've said in the past, like, where do I get photos from? I would just look on things like Pinterest. Just obviously make sure that what you're posting is decent content. It's not blurry. It makes sense. And I think have fun with it as best you can.
Because it is meant to be fun, right? It's Instagram.
Absolutely.
It's not, you know, you are meant to have some fun with it. And I guess trial and error as well, because you don't know when's going to be the best time for you to post, when you're going to get the most engagement, unless you try it. Try doing it all different times. Figure out where your audience is and when they're kind of responding to you. And kind of have a bit of fun and then go from there.
Absolutely.
Nicole, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.